thing that makes us stick together is our humor, because we joke all the time. And non-stop all the time. We're like making little jokes and silly dances. So actually, I think that's an important point. So I needed to put it in here. We have been together for 12 years. So we are now 26 and 27, and we got together when we were 14, which is crazy because we were such babies. And I thought it would be really interesting to give you guys a video where we talk about the foundation of our relationship and what makes us stick together, because I think it's pretty awesome that we've been together for such a long time. Indeed. Hi, Gus, and welcome. I feel like I'm on a talk show. Like, hi and welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's so wonderful to be here.
Before we get into the foundation of our relationship, I wanted to kind of mention the basic rule of any happy relationship, which I think you can agree with as well, which is love. Love, Harry. Love. I know it might seem silly to some of you guys, like it's almost obvious, but there's no point in working through things or understanding how you can be together for a long time if you don't have love, actual love, attraction, call it whatever you believe in, but like this pull towards each other, right?
Yeah, interest in the other person.
Yeah. Also, we have some teas to make this conversation a little bit more cozy, so you guys can also grab some teas or some snacks and let's just have a really cool conversation. So the first thing I kind of want to kick off with is having the same values. I think it's so important to share the same values in life. Your hobbies can differ, your interests can differ, but what makes you really want to be around that person is having the same vision for your life. What do you think about that?
Like, that's also one of the basic principles, I think. Otherwise, if you have different values, you're gonna fight all the time because you see the world in a different way.
Yeah.
And so having the same values is quite important.
Some of you might be thinking, like, what makes you understand if you have the same values? Like, what's the difference between the same interest or a value? And I think the difference is in the depth. When you sit down with a person and you talk about things in depth, like where do you see yourself in 20 years, right? Yeah. Where do you see yourself down the line? What's your views on big, I don't know, serious topics, maybe even
some serious topics? I think that's one of the most important things.
Can we give an example maybe for the audience? What is a big serious topic?
Love towards kitty cats.
You know what?
It's a basic principle, but
actually, like, you are right. You know, it's kind of a joke, but it actually makes sense because let's say we both share a big love towards kitty cats, but under that is a big love towards animals. Under that is a respect for animals, right? So there's a lot of compassion. So let's say I would love animals. I do love, but let's say I love animals. I'm compassionate towards them, and I'm with someone who hates them. That does not mean that, you know, a relationship can't work, but if animals are a big part of my life and I'm with someone who hates them, I see that being a little bit a conflict.
It's a big obstacle.
It's a big obstacle, right?
Yes, because always someone will want the cat, the other person will not want the cat.
Yeah.
And then there is no middle ground. It's just one or the other has to compromise.
But I specifically mentioned like hate because it's okay if you're indifferent. That's you're just
the principle is like one of them.
Right.
One of the person wants a cat. The other one doesn't want a cat.
Right.
And someone has to compromise and either live with a cat or without a cat.
Right.
A lot of people see marriage as one. That's a great example, I think, because if one of
or commitment in general, how do you view it? What's your view on what even is a relationship? That's a big value, and I knew this from, I think, from the start of our relationship, that we share the same view on commitment. And when it comes to marriage, again, I've said this before, I'm not opposed to it, but it has never been important to me. Because for me, marriage is a piece of paper, because the love and commitment, I have that, I give that to this man the same way as you give that to me without the paper. So I can see that being an obstacle as well. Let's say I would be super religious and I would view marriage as this big thing in my life that I need and you would see it as unnecessary, that could be a little bit hard. So I think it's about having the same values of what is love, what is commitment, what is relationship, where do we see ourselves in 20 years from now?
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
The second thing that is very important, and I actually wrote it down in capital letters, is communication. Communication and speaking honestly is so important.
It really is. It's a big part of relationship, being able to communicate with your partner properly, because of course these talks are often very hard, but the longer you are together, the better you learn to communicate, the easier they get, because the younger we were, there is a lot of fighting, a lot of like angriness and stuff like that. The older we get more calm, we can talk more efficiently
and effectively
and more
as well.
Effectively, yeah.
Because we learn how to communicate properly. And I always say this, you can't have a successful relationship, you can't have a relationship that lasts years and decades. I mean, in our case, we've been together more than 1 decade, which is crazy. You can't have that without communicating safely, which actually brings us to another point, which is having safe space to communicate. I often see TV shows and movies where couples, or I know that that's what makes it TV, don't get me wrong, I love drama on TV, but I often see that there are so many fights and things unresolved because people feel afraid to talk about things. And I think I am so, and I know I'm so grateful that we share a safe space in our relationship where we can talk about anything.
Not only talk, just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
Do the silly things you do when you're alone. You can do this with the person you love.
Yeah.
That's having the free, safe space.
When I was younger, I wasn't as confident as I am now, and I wasn't as sure of myself. So there were many things that I kept to myself, which I think is a woman thing. We think of things in our head, we make it more dramatic, and we don't go to that person. And I really learned that it's important to, of course, yes, communicate, but to feel that I have this safe space where I can share anything with you.
Yeah. Right.
How do you view safe space in our relationship now?
Oh, it's so safe. Like I can be
How safe? Very safe.
Very safe.
How safe? Very, very safe.
It's like I can be the person I am without any issues. I can be honest with you.
Right.
Like with some people, it's very hard to be honest because you don't know how they're gonna react, how they're gonna take you. But of course, I don't feel the same way with you. I can tell whatever I have on my heart whenever I want.
Yeah.
Being able to be truthful to one another. Whenever there's an issue, I can always go to you and I know I can be truthful and you will be truthful to me.
Right.
And being able to be honest with other person is such a big relief.
Right.
Like you don't have to think, oh, how they're gonna take this, oh, what I'm gonna say. It's very important to have that.
Right. I agree. I absolutely agree. While sometimes truth can be hard, not necessarily objectively, but maybe in your mind you think it's so hard to be truthful. In the end, what you gain is a complete trust in your relationship that you know that whatever happens, literally whatever, maybe I killed someone, doesn't matter. I can go to this one and be like, and you're like, where do we bury the body? I'm kidding, guys. We would burn it. I'm kidding again. I'm kidding. But my point is that we can always be completely true with one another.
Yeah.
And we know that even if something mysteriously horrible happens in the future, we'll be honest and that's it.
You have to be honest, you have to be truthful. Otherwise, the other person cannot guess what is needed or what are you going through or stuff like that. There
is no happy relationship. There is no sustainable relationship if you don't work on yourself as an individual. Because if you're making yourself happy, then you can also make the other person happy, which actually brings me to the next point, which is we think about how we can make each other happy. Trust me when I tell you that it is an effort from both sides. I'm not talking about, let's say you're watching this video and you're thinking, okay, I'm doing all these things, but maybe I'm still not happy. If you're the only one that's doing all these things, but the other party isn't, that's not a relationship. A relationship is committed teamwork. And I love that word teamwork because that's exactly what it is.
But first you have to communicate before
Going back to the communication.
Yeah, first you got to communicate if something is making you feel bad, something you feel should be improved. If it's a safe space, it's easy to communicate.
Going back to the safe space.
Yeah.
No, but the point is that you want to make the other person happy. A relationship actually is not about me, me, me. Your individual life, your work on yourself is about me, me, me. But your relationship is about how can I make the other person happy? How can I make them feel understood? How can I give them gifts that they want, right? When I say gifts, I don't mean like physical things, but any kind of attention or love you want to give that person, right?
How can I help this person?
How can I help them? How can I make them feel better? Before some of people, because I just thought about it, come into comments to say like, no one can make you happy, only you can make yourself happy. Of course, you work on your happiness, but when you're in a relationship, you want to create circumstances and situations where you show that person that you love them. That's, I think it's an automatic, natural thing, but in this world where I think so often, from time to time, I see selfishness happen, which is a very, by the way, natural thing that can happen. It's nice to remember that at the end of the day, when you're really, really old, it's about having people, it's about having a family, and you don't get there by just thinking about yourself. And of course, guys, I make so much content about spending time with yourself and thinking about yourself, so I don't want my words to get twisted. You always need to put yourself first so that you can bring things to other people. The only way you can be really selfless and give to other people is if you're first given to yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Take care of yourself first, then you can
take care of other people. Right.
Yeah.
Recently, an influencer, business owner that I follow for 8-9 years announced that she was divorcing her husband of I think 12 years, a very similar time. And I told Gus how shocked I was because first of all, she seemed like she had it all and she was so happy. And yes, I know, you should never judge or base your opinion on social media. It can all be fake, or it can just not tell the whole truth, not necessarily be fake. But I told him how it really struck me because in this day and age, more and more people see divorce as this like normal thing. And of course it is normal, things happen, but you see less and less people being together their whole life. So the last point I wanted to talk about is what makes our relationship work these whole years, what makes us be together, is our commitment to being together. It is an active choice that we made. No one is making us. We don't have a marriage paper. We are making this choice to be together. So it's commitment.
Yeah, commitment is like paving your own way into the future. It's not like we said, oh, it didn't work out. It's just you didn't work on it enough to make it work out. It's a choice you make to be committed to the other person. Every single day, every single action you make, whenever there's a fight, the easy way is, okay, I'm done with this, I'm head out.
Right.
The hard part is, no, I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna work on this, we're gonna talk about it and grow together.
Right. Me and Gus, we've been talking a lot about how, of course, children will bring new challenges. Actually, I don't know if they will, but I hear that from everyone, that children bring new challenges. And I think we promised each other a long time ago that we'll, continue communicating and we'll schedule date nights even when we have kids. Luckily, we have such a big and wonderful family who can babysit and help us if needed. Not that we're gonna use them. Take our kids. Commitment is a last value. I really, really believe that.
Yeah.
We are committed because we love each other, of course, but also because we chose to be committed. There are so many relationships where people do love each other, but they break it off because maybe they didn't know how to communicate. Maybe they didn't know how to stay committed. Maybe they had some little devil inside that they couldn't deal with, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, many things, mental illnesses, addictions. If there is love, if there is true love and you see that that person is your person, but maybe you're just lacking in some area and you have to be honest to yourself to understand what is that area. Is it communication? Is it you're not spending enough time together, but you find that area and you work on that area?
A very important thing I think might be finding a hobby together to do. It's a nice way to spend time together with other person. For us, it's 100% movies and TV series.
Especially in winter and colder months, I think that's our top. We love movies, we love TV shows, we love love geeky stuff actually as well. Little games, like board games. Sometimes I like, because I play Hogwarts Legacy. I'm a little bit of a gamer myself. And so like these things, but outside the house, we both love adventures, travel. We love that stuff. Like it makes us both excited. It's not that it makes one person excited. Like when we travel, we're both excited.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that beautiful, sustainable, and long relationships are not found, they're built. I think that is probably the most crucial thing. If you want to take away one thing from this video, take this. You find people that you connect to, but you build the relationships. And a good way to understand if that relationship is growing and is beautiful is to look back a couple of years. Is this relationship better or is it worse? Now, if it's worse, that is not a reason to necessarily divorce. It's just a reason to work on something. And for us, that's the most beautiful thing, that with every year we'll look back and we think, oh my gosh, our relationship is even better and more beautiful and more stronger. And so
it's kind of surprising. Like,
right?
At one point you feel like, okay, this is as good as it's gonna get.
Right.
But it's still, next year comes out, oh my God, I feel even better now.
Yeah.
And the years go by.
And you're like, even more beautiful, even more better. Remember, guys, that all of these things are built with deep inner work, separately and together. And as long as you have found the person that you love and you both love each other and you want to work on your relationship, you want to build on it, it's gonna happen. You can get there and you can work through it, even if you're in a relationship for 2 years but you want to be forever together. You have to be equally committed and you have to work on it. And don't think too much about the future, although I love to think about the future, but think about what I can do now to improve my relationship. How can I make myself happier? How can I make the other person happier? But yeah, is there anything you want to, Gus, add as the last words? You guys, you have no idea. I probably will edit this video very beautifully, but so many times I ask Gus a question and he just goes in like a deep thinking mode. I'm like, quick, we're filming. And he's like, let me think about it. And I'm just like waiting for a minute. But yeah, guys, this was the foundation of our happy 12-year-long relationship. Let me know if you want Gus to return, if you want us to talk about different things like kids or marriage, or if you want to see our funny side, because we have it, guys. We have it. We're very funny. I don't want to, like, you know, sound a bit...
Toot my own horn.
Toot my own horn, but we're pretty funny. Thanks, guys, so much for being here. And I hope you enjoyed this, a bit of a different format. And thank you, Gus, so much, my dear, for being here. I love you very much. And thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Love you too.
Bye, guys. I forgot to mention that another thing that makes us stick together is our humor, because we joke all the time. And non-stop, all the time. We're like making little jokes and silly dances. So actually, I think that's an important point. So I needed to put it in here. Humor is what will make you stick together, right? Because when you're old and wrinkly and you're sitting on your couch, like a couple of 90-year-olds, like, and watching TV, you know what makes the relationship laughing?
Yes.
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 Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.